Smugglers are one of the most popular types of character in Star Wars, and it is high time we took a look at some more good ships for them. I'm Joey from Radio Free Coruscant, and these are the best ships for smugglers in Star Wars, Volume 3. Breon Dayvan. First up is the Courier manufacturing Breon HOY-39 Dayvan. The best ship for smuggling is one that Imperial patrols will never see or bother to look at, and the Breon Dayvan delivers. The class was so old that most of them didn't have transponders that the Empire or corporate sector authorities could track, and the only way they would be able to find you would be through extremely tedious manual examinations of records. If you did get caught, it would probably be bad news, as the ship's interior left essentially no space to conceal your cargo, but the authorities just aren't that likely to want to look in the first place. The ship's advanced age could be considered a drawback to some, but it likely shared parts with many other Courier products, so it shouldn't be too hard to find replacements, and its simplicity made it very long-lasting and probably pretty easy to repair. The Breon Dayvan measured 20.4 meters long by about 10.4 wide and 3.5 tall. It had a Class 2 hyperdrive and probably a top atmospheric speed of 850 kilometers per hour. It was armed with a double laser cannon and had a crew of only 1. The ship could carry 4 to 8 passengers, or around 10 tons of cargo, plus probably a week or two of consumables. Its price was unknown, but likely around 50,000 credits new, or 20,000 used. YT-1000. Staying in the realm of old and overlookable ships for a minute, the Corellian Engineering Corporation YT-1000 freighter would be perfect for a smuggler as well. Introduced over a century before the Battle of Yavin, this ship was the first entry into CEC's now legendary YT series product line, and while it was not a terribly exciting or revolutionary design itself, it was a very popular design when it was introduced, and remains so in certain circles to this very day. It was based on the aging Powerhouse-class freighter, which is also fantastic to this day, but updated and improved upon it with many new features. The YT-1000 is probably not old enough to avoid an Imperial-friendly transponder system like the Dayvan, but you could always just turn it off. It's old enough that Imperial patrols probably wouldn't question it. The ship overall was simple, reliable, and customizable, perfect for the average smuggler. The YT-1000 measured 28 meters long by about 24 meters wide and 7 meters tall. It had a top atmospheric speed of 740 kilometers per hour and a Class 3 hyperdrive with a Class 16 backup. It was armed with a dual laser cannon. It required a crew of 2, though I'm sure 1 could fly it just fine, and it could carry 4 passengers, 75 tons of cargo, and 2 months of consumables. And at a cost of 85,000 credits new or 20,000 used, it should be very easy to afford. HCT 2001. Next up is the cumbersomely named Gallifrey Yard's HCT 2001 Dragonboat-class Ryugo 905 freighter. This was a highly adaptable bulk freighter popular with freight captains and Trandoshan hunters for its rugged and simple design. What was interesting about the Dragonboat is that it was composed of a tug section towing a train of several modular freight compartments, meaning that its size and cargo capacity could be heavily customized. Most dragon boats seem to only have 1 compartment, but they could have at least 7, and I wouldn't be surprised if it were possible to carry up to 10 or 12. It isn't clear if you could swap out or add modules at any time, or if you're stuck with whatever number of modules it was built with, but I would guess that at the very least, modules could be added or removed by a qualified mechanic. This modularity did give the ship a major drawback in terms of durability, though. The connection points between the cargo modules were known to fly apart under high G-forces or in a crash. However, I am not sure if many other ships this size would fare much better, and I suspect that regular maintenance to prevent and repair hull strain could at least partially mitigate this issue. And if not, careful flying certainly would. What makes the Dragonboat good for a smuggler, other than its customizability, is that it's a very simple and rugged ship that, like the other ships on this list, is likely to be overlooked by Republic or Imperial patrols. Its substantial cargo volume would also make it quite easy to hide contraband inside the ship in case you do get boarded and searched. Furthermore, each cargo module was equipped with floor ramps that allowed contraband to be ejected in case of emergency. The base model measured 54.1 meters long by about 35.7 meters wide and 14.5 meters tall, and with the apparent maximum of 7 cargo modules, it could get up to at least 95.3 meters long, with each module adding about 8.3 meters to its length. It likely had a top speed around 750 kilometers per hour and a Class 2 or 3 hyperdrive. It was armed with 1 triple laser cannon turret on its chin, and required a crew of just 2 pilots and 1 gunner. Its official passenger and cargo capacities are unknown. A troop of Trandoshans who kidnapped Ahsoka Tano could carry 12 captured prisoners aboard theirs, but they were clearly not using it to its full capacity. As for cargo, I would guess it to carry at least 50 tons of cargo per module, up to 350 tons with all 7. Its price was unfortunately unknown as well, and without knowing the exact nature of its module system, it's pretty hard to say what it might be. Gallifrey's GR-75 was similar in size to the Dragonboat, so based on the price of that, the Dragonboat may have been around 200,000 credits, plus around 20,000 per module new, or half that used. Lucrehulk. Normally, I save the largest and most capable ship on these lists for the end, but this one is a little bit of an unorthodox suggestion, so I need to save a more normal one for number 5. The Horsch-Kessel Drive Inc. Lucrehulk class LH-3210 cargo freighter is not exactly an attainable ship for most freight captains or even large companies. In fact, it was produced exclusively for the Trade Federation, though a handful of them were known to end up under the control of other groups from time to time. The Trade Federation used these vessels to ship staggering quantities of goods around the galaxy, including, eventually, their private army, and later the Separatist army. And it is this cargo volume that would enable a Lucrehulk to be used for smuggling. You wouldn't even need to own one to do it. If you were one of a Lucrehulk's handful of organic crew, you could hide smuggled items amongst the ship's vast quantity of legitimate cargo, and take it planetside when you reach its destination via a Sheathipede shuttle or C-9979 landing craft. You would only be able to take smuggling jobs that lie along the ship's scheduled route, of course, but that shouldn't be too big of a deal. You would also be very unlikely to get caught, as the Lucrehulk was almost entirely manned by droids that would probably be very easy to trick into forgetting about your illicit cargo if they ever found it. Loading and delivering your cargo would be the only truly dangerous parts of the mission, but even then you can mitigate the risk by timing it to coincide with official cargo movements. If you have the right role on the ship, or the right contacts outside of it, you could probably even have your smuggled goods be fully integrated into the ship's normal cargo, so that it could only be discovered by literally opening the crate it's stored in. Plus, because you'd be answering to corporate authorities first rather than a planetary or galactic government, the odds of being able to bribe your commanding officer into letting you get away with it if you did get caught are pretty high. Just offer them a portion of the proceeds, and they are sure to look the other way. And if your contraband does get discovered by the authorities instead, it would still take a substantial investigation to figure out who put it there, and you would be very likely to get away with it. All of that is to say that running a smuggling operation aboard a Trade Federation Lucrehulk would be one of the safest and easiest smuggling operations possible, at a cost of being quite difficult to get into and exclusive to employees of the Trade Federation. The Lucrehulk was one of the largest classes of ship ever built at its introduction, at a length of 3,356.9 meters long by 3,009 wide and 1,028.8 tall. Its maximum atmospheric speed was rated at 500 kilometers per hour, though the idea of one of these traveling in atmosphere seems dubious to me. Maybe it has been done, but it seems more likely to me that this is the speed of the command sphere at the center of each Lucrehulk. which was capable of detaching from the main ship and landing on a planet's surface to deposit cargo or land troops and combat vehicles. The Lucrehulk also had a Class 2 hyperdrive with a Class 10 backup. It was quite heavily armed to defend itself against pirates, for whom it would have been an incredibly lucrative target. The original version of the ship had 42 quad turbo-laser batteries and numerous tractor beams, but the battleship and droid control ship retrofits could give it up to 51 turbo-lasers, 520 assault laser cannons, and 185 point defense quad laser cannons, or 24 heavy quad turbo-laser batteries, 4 twin heavy turbo-laser batteries, 160 point defense quad lasers, and 400 twin heavy laser cannons. The ship had an immense complement of embarked craft as well. Battleships and droid control ships carried 1,500 vulture droids, 6,250 armored assault tanks, 550 multi-troop transports, and 1,500 platoon attack craft, as well as 50 C-9979 landing craft, an unknown number of shuttles, boarding vessels, and other landing craft, and 1 core ship. The basic cargo freighter version likely didn't carry the starfighters, tanks, or MTTs, but it probably did have the others for logistics purposes. The ship required a total of 203,060 crew, broken down into 60 organic supervisors, 3,000 droid crew members, including OOM series pilot battle droids, and 200,000 simpler maintenance droids. It could carry an unknown number of organic passengers, likely none, but could carry an entire army of 139,000 to 329,000 battle droids. It could also carry 2 years of consumables and an absolutely mind-boggling 25 million tons of cargo. All of that came at an extremely high cost of 500 million credits, but fortunately for you, that isn't your problem this time. YKL-37R. And finally, one of the best ships for smugglers in Star Wars is, funnily enough, another Gallifrey product, namely the Gallifrey Yard's YKL-37R Nova Courier. This ship was Gallifrey's answer to CEC's YT series, and a last-ditch effort to save the company from bankruptcy shortly before the Galactic Civil War. It didn't work, as Gallifrey had alienated too many potential customers with reliability and maintenance issues in their other products, but they did strike a deal with the Rebel Alliance to sell many to them at a steep discount. The Rebels ended up liking the Nova Couriers a lot, and when Gallifrey went under, much of their remaining stock of the ships ended up in the hands of rebels, smugglers, and pirates. It was designed to emulate all the things people liked about CEC's YT series ships, such as low crew requirements, powerful weapons, and easy maintenance, so it's easy to see why they were so popular. The ease of maintenance in particular was very good, as without Gallifrey around to provide support, servicing the ship could have become very difficult and expensive, as it likely did for their less reliable products. This ease of maintenance and the generally overlooked state of the ship would make it perfect for a smuggler looking to avoid attracting too much attention. Officially, the YKL measured 30 meters long, but that doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. The original model from Star Wars Galaxies, where the ship originates, puts it at 50 meters long, and while not all of the sizes in that game are correct, there is no source listed for the 30-meter figure on Wikipedia like there are for all its other stats, so it's entirely possible that that is some wiki editor's best guess. Not to mention, if it were only 30 meters long, you wouldn't be able to stand up in the cockpit, and you'd have to crawl through the airlock and the tube connecting the cockpit to the main hull. So, the Nova Courier actually measured 49.9 meters long by 39.9 meters wide and 12.7 tall. It had a top atmospheric speed of 800 kilometers per hour and a Class 2 hyperdrive. It was very well armed with 2 laser cannon turrets and 3 concussion missile launchers for some reason, and required a crew of 2 pilots and 2 optional gunners. It could also carry 6 passengers, 60 tons of cargo, and 2 months of consumables. Finally, the ship came in at a cost of 150,000 credits new or 45,000 used, though smugglers aligned with the Rebel Alliance could potentially get one for even less. And those are 5 more of the best ships for smugglers in Star Wars. Perhaps some unorthodox choices, but the video wouldn't be very interesting if I just said you could use any freighter or shuttle, even though that is true. But let me know what you think of these, and what you would have chosen instead in the comments. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next week. RFC, out.